All right, Shalawam. First and foremost, let's start out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BaHaShem, YAHAWASHI, BaHaShem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, the great millstone, the men that told me this truth, and peace and salutation, Barakadam, to all you sincere Akim, laboring in this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, real quick. This is an article from ABC News, and it's being reported that right now you got U.S. troops out there in L.A. They went yesterday to do a raid out there in MacArthur Park, and it was empty, but we're seeing that this is going to be the norm. All right, this eventually is going to be the norm, and eventually you're going to see this in all soon major cities. Coming to you in near city near you. You're going to have more of this, all right, going on. And, we're seeing Title 10, okay? Title 10, which Trump put into play because of what's going on between these migrants, and they feel like they needed to bring the troops in to protect, the federal personnel and federal, different agents that are out there, with the whole ICE raids, with the whole, deportation raids and things. They had to have reinforcement. But this is the first time you ever seen that, okay, that you're seeing U.S. troops, basically being brought in, okay, to govern America, man. And this is all a drill. And it reminds me of the bill, real quick. Let me get that. The bill, Rex 84, right? We've been always speaking about this, but we're seeing this as being an exercise that was basically conducted yesterday out there in LA, right? So it says Rex 84B, short for Readiness Exercise 1984 Bravo, was a classified scenario and drill developed by the United States federal government to detain large numbers of United States residents deemed to be national security threats, right? And we're seeing this taking part right now, out there in LA. You had the protesting of the, undocumented migrants. Then you had the No King Day, all right, which was in several major cities, all right. And this is what we're seeing right now. It's like a drill that's being conducted, all right. And they're gonna soon target U.S. residents, U.S. citizens that are born here. All right, it's going to start with the migrants. Going to start with the ones that are undocumented. All right, especially those of the Northern Kingdom. All right, so-called Hispanics. All right, then it's going to trickle down to Jake. All right, of the Southern Kingdom. They're starting right now with Levi, right, which is the so-called Haitians, but eventually they're going to go to Benjamin. All right, which are the so-called West Indians, and eventually Jake that's born here or live here in America. Okay, so we're seeing this drill being conducted. All right, very very soon it's going to be worldwide. It's going to be here in America very soon. All right, all over. But it says threats in the event that the president declared a national emergency. Right, the scenario envisioned state defense forces rounding up to 500,000 undocumented Central American residents and 4,000 American citizens whom the U.S. Attorney General had designated as national security threats as part of the secret continuity of government program. These people would be detained at 22 military bases in concentration camps run by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is FEMA. And this is what they want to do away with FEMA, because they want to totally control this thing, man. All right. So we're seeing this taking place, man. All right. And eventually, you know, with this whole, boots on the ground out there in LA, okay, we're going to see this is the beginning of it, man. All right. This is the beginning of how you're going to see how America is going to change, where, all right, this place is going to be governed as a police state, or basically, where, U.S. troops and, they're going to be protecting the streets of these major cities, man. All right. But I got a scripture real quick. This is Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 5. Right? It says, O Assyrian, the rod of my anger and the staff in their hand is my indignation. And who's the modern day Assyrian? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom. All right. The Edomites, okay, that the Lord is going to use, okay, to bring forth his judgment. Let's go real quick. Psalms 17 and verse 13. But, King David said, right? He said, "Arise, O Lord, YAHAWAH, by Hashem YAHAWASHI, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword." And who's the wicked? According to Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, which is the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. He's the one that's ruling, the one that's in power, the one that's, the Lord has put the spirit or the blessing of the sword upon him to that's how he's able to rule this earth. All right. By the sword. All right. That's his blessing. Okay. And also, one of his swords is his deceit. The deceit that he uses is the speech. All right. That's one of his swords, his weapons as well. All right. But we're seeing right now, the Lord is using this devil, right, to afflict harm or destruction upon 2/3 of our people, right? It says, "O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, the staff in their hand is my indignation." And the indignation, meaning the righteous anger of the Lord, is going to come through Esau. All right. He's going to be the whipping stick to the nation of Israel. All right. For those that don't want to adhere to the words of Yahweh Shai through the prophets, through the men of the Lord, this is what's going to come to you. All right. Death and destruction. Verse 6, I will send him against an hypocritical nation. Who's that speaking about? The nation of Israel. All right. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay. You're a hypocritical nation. All right. Because why are people, when it comes to taking heed to the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments, right? They learn the ways of the Lord through the precepts of men, through hearing, through their church pastors, these pastors that's not sent, according to the Lord's heart, through his mind, right? Basically the precepts of men. They're not following the true ways of the Lord, right? They're doing their own thing. All right. And that's why a lot of you, okay, the majority of you are going to get put to death. Okay. Because you're a hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge, right? To take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. And when you read, what was that? Revelation? No, not Revelation. Salakia. Romans, I believe the 13th chapter. The Lord said He's not gonna the Lord's going to put the spirit on the so-called white man to not to bear his sword in vain. All right. So it's a purpose in these times to come that the Lord is going to, use this devil, all right, to inflict punishments upon you Israelites. Okay. So this is why you have to fear YAHAWASHI, man, because he's the one that's going to bring that judgment, especially in these times to come. All right. Let's get real quick. Ezekiel chapter 21. And I'm going to go straight down to verse 9. It says, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord YAHAWASHI. Say a sword is sharpened and also furbished. And that's what we're seeing right now, before you, okay, out there in LA. A sword is being sharpened. Okay, they getting prepared, they getting ready. They doing these mock drills. Okay, even though they went into that park, they were supposed to basically all they seen was I believe it was some kids at a daycare or whatever. They were just but they found that that's what they heard, that there was some kids there or whatever. They came to the park and no one was there, right? So they're getting getting prepared. All right, they're getting prepared for mass deportation. They're getting prepared to round a lot of you people up in these concentration camps, man. Okay, this is what we're about to witness, man. All right, these things are not done, by coincidence. It's with a purpose that Trump sent these troops out there in LA. All right, because this is what's coming, man. All right, a lot of death, a lot of casualties. All right, this is what's coming, man. It is furbished, Slakia. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? Right? That's what the question is being answered. Should we then make mirth? And seeing that all these things are taking place right now, man, this ain't the time for you to be in the spirit of being happy and thinking that things are going to be better. And no, this is the time we're supposed to be seeking the Lord, man. Okay, meditating on the Lord. All right, fasting, praying. Okay, being in the house of mourning, not in the house of mirth. Right? It said, it condemneth the rod of my son as every tree, and he have given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished, to give it into the hand of the slayer. All right. And who's ultimately the slayer? Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahushai. But he has Esau that's going to be doing his bidding on the left hand side, man. All right. So many of you are going to get put to death, man, in these times to come, man. There's going to be a lot of death, a lot of people getting separated from their families. You know what I'm saying? People getting deported, even so-called American citizens, man. These are the times we're in. This is the beginning of sorrows, like it tells you in Second Esdras, right? These are the beginning of sorrows, okay? Jacob's trouble, right? When you read about it in Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, this is what we're seeing right now before us, man. Okay? Get something else. This is, matter of fact, I mentioned Second Esdras, right? Let me just get it. Second Esdras, chapter 16. I'm going to start at verse 68. It says, For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. Right, that great multitude, like it tells you in Isaiah the 59th chapter, right? The Lord said, when the enemy shall come in as a flood, then, basically the Lord's going to put a standard upon you, man. Those are the men that fear the Lord, right? In that time, certain men are going to have spiritual powers, and certain men are going to get grabbed up. Certain men are going to not be able to escape, all right, being thrown in these concentration camps, and then some men are gonna escape. All right, that's what is basically is gonna come down to, man. All right, but either way, you know, uh, regardless, like the scripture says in Revelation, the second chapter, we're all gonna be tried and tested. You know, uh, but it says, "Be thou faithful even unto death, and I shall give you a crown of life." All right, because there will be martyrs, okay, in this truth. Those that are gonna die for this truth, those that are gonna be beheaded, like it tells us in Revelation, the 20th chapter, we're gonna have those that's beheaded for not taking the mark. All right, the charagma of the beast, okay, and the testimony of Yahawah Shem Yahushai. You're gonna have those that are gonna be beheaded. Okay, it says, of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, right, and take you into these concentration camps, man. All right, or these places where it says where Trump made up that was that alligator Alcatraz, right, and he got some other ones too that he's considering, Guantanamo Bay, you know. So hey, man, most likely one of us, us brothers out here, man, that's believers of the truth, that calling the names of Yahawah Shem Yahushua, we might most likely be in one of those concentration camps, man. All right, but hey, the Lord said, "Be faithful, man. You know, even unto death, and I shall give thee a crown of life." Right. So it says, and feed you being idle with things offered unto idols, which is a chip, because that's the ultimate goal, to eventually chip everybody on the planet Earth, and that's what it's going to come down to. You know, he's not going to be able to get all so-called illegal aliens or so-called migrants out the country. So they're going to come with the C hip in order for you to stay here. And many of our people, they're going to take it because they don't know no better. They don't have trust in Yahawah Shem Yahushua, right? And it said, and they that consent, right, unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. You see, that's what's going to happen. If you take part in this beast system and you trust in the so-called white man Esau Edom, right, you're gonna be in derision and a reproach. Okay. And verse 70, it says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord," the Israelites, all right? Okay, mainly that's who they're going to target. They coming after those men, of the tribes, all right? You don't see them really talking about, the other nations, all right? So-called Chinese, so-called Arabs, you know, the other heathen nations. You don't hear them talking about deporting them. But when it comes to the tribes, all right, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they know who we are, so they're trying to get rid of us. All right. So that great insurrection is coming soon. Okay. Verse 71, it says, "They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord." Right. So the Lord's gonna put a spirit in Esau to be as a madman in these times to come. All right. He's gonna put that spirit, like a dreadful, evil, even more worse than the time of slavery, even more worse than all that, all the horrific times that our people went through. That's why the time of Jacob's trouble is going to be a time like never before that was seen on the earth. All right, you're going to have basically Terminator robots type of uh, people hunting people down. You know what I'm saying? Robotic dogs. All right, they don't have no feeling. So when that time come, their purpose is just to kill. Okay, the Lord's going to have the so-called white men basically have robots and these drones and things like that to have the ability to kill when that time come. All right, so they're gonna be like a madman sparing none. All right, they're not gonna these robots. They're not gonna you know have feelings, man. They're not gonna look at you with the intention of, okay, I feel sorry for this person. They're gonna be programmed to kill you, okay, with the intention to kill. That's it. All right. So it says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. All right. So that time is gonna come when you're gonna be cast out of your homes, right? They're gonna be thrown in the concentration camps. You're gonna be, removed away from your home. Your family is gonna be separated. These are the times we're coming, and then we're letting you know through the power and spirit of YAHAWASHI these things before it happen, before it take place on the earth. Then you're gonna know who are the chosen of the Lord. All right, who are the Lord's elect? Okay, because you have certain individuals that call themselves Israelites. They're not giving the warning out. All right, there's dumb dogs that cannot bark. You see, so get ready, man. Get ready in these times to come. Soon, very soon, things are gonna get bad out here, man. Okay, right now it's out there in LA. Next week it could be out in New York. All right, and so on and so forth, all around these major cities, all 50 states, man. All right, so this is very much the beginning of sorrows, Jacob's trouble ahead, man. All right, so with that, I'm gonna end it there. All praises due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshai. To the next time I say Shalawam.